Hey, we're live. Hey everyone, my name is Fran. I'm with the Fran and Friends podcast. We have been in hiatus uh, for a couple months. We're ready to be back live now, and I have a beautiful sister here with me today. And when I say sister, I really mean sister. We are both Essie sisters. She is a licensed master social worker. She does a lot of work in our community, and I'd love to give her the floor so that way she can introduce herself. Elaine, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Fran. So, good morning, everyone. Hello. My name is Elaine, and I am the founder of Refined SOUlutions. And basically, I experienced being incarcerated for 4 days. And during that time, I was pregnant, and I decided to take a plea on my case.
Mm.
And since then, I've been living with the collateral consequences of having a conviction, which sort of derailed me, but I guess sort of made crystal clear what I wanted to do in my life as far as how I show up for others. Always was into the community, always doing things for my neighborhood and making sure I was available to those. But with my conviction, I zoomed in on how services are available for the children of incarcerated parents, as well as for those experiencing incarceration and wanting to have family visits, what that look like, and also support for caregivers, the ones who are raising our children on the outside, and what does that look like? What do they need? What do they want? What are they receiving? And is it enough? And I have, like you said, my license master of social work in New York and Connecticut. So right now I am able to provide therapy and caregiver support groups in both Connecticut and New York, um, doing just that, showing up for the children impacted by their parents' incarceration and for caregivers.
Mm. So you were directly impacted by incarceration, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes,
And then you mentioned that it had changed the way that you had, I guess, your perspective on life.
yes.
What in that journey made you shift?
I think more so being a mom, right?
Mm.
Before it was more me wanting to show up for my community and have them build better relationships um, with emergency responders, and being self reliant and productive and whatever that meant, for them. But with being a mom, understanding that you need a village, like really understanding that it takes a village to raise a child. Like that's not just a saying. Like it, you have the teachers, you have the daycare, you have the grandmas, the great grandparents, if you're blessed to have multi generations, um, community centers, the hospitals, the clinics. Everyone plays a role on you making sure that you're okay and that your child is okay. And what does that look like? What hopes and dreams you have for your child, and then other things come into play as well.
So you just wanted to make a better life for you and your children. Is that what
It,
I'm hearing?
yes.
Okay. All right. You mentioned that you're the founder of Refined SOUlutions, but I see the emphasis on soul. Please share with us what Refined SOUlutions is.
So initially, before my arrest, I was also co-founder of King Bishop's Entertainment, and we were doing a lot of life skills and financial planning and financial education for people that wanted to be in the arts. And I realized that a lot of the community members I was working with had other things like balancing time and self care for themselves, or even understanding why they needed a high school diploma or a GED or higher education. And I'm like, we could do so much more than just manage artists. And then with that, turning around and seeing what are we doing for the moms, right? Whether you're married, you're with your partner. Um, I came to a realization that some of these moms needed some extra care and some extra support. And again, that village that they felt they were lacking. And it wasn't so much to say that if you get a job that you'll be okay, right? Because money does not buy happiness. It cannot buy everything. But looking within yourself and saying, are you nourishing your soul? How is your community nourishing your soul? And where's the solution in that? Whether it's praying, whether it's having someone to talk to, a therapist, a friend, having someone to give you a hug, right? And saying, I'm not okay today. Having someone check in on you to see if you're okay, because a lot of times as a caregiver, um, you feel like you have to be this super mom, this superwoman. It's okay to put down your cape. The cape is killing us if we're not taking care of ourselves and pouring into ourselves, and our daughters, right? If we have daughters, we're modeling now and how to take care of ourselves, how they should take care of themselves, and we're slowly building um, this harsh cycle of being an independent woman, um, what that looks like, which usually means I'm not asking for help, I'm not taking a break. So building that community to show up for one another, and making sure that our sisters are hitting pause and that we're being intentional about joy and taking care of ourselves.
I love that. I was definitely one of them. Like, oh, I'm the independent girl. I gave that cape right up because it, like you said, we're not taking the time to nourish ourselves. And there are those needs, the emotional needs that we have that we do need to replenish ourselves. And like you said, it could just be a hug. It could just be just being in space with sisters that make you feel normal instead of you having to be on the go all the time. So
Right.
love that. Love that. All right. I noticed that you wanted to talk about the Free Abdus campaign. Please let us know what that is.
So, with the work that I've been doing on myself and within my family, um, I couldn't move forward without addressing that, my significant other also got arrested the same time I was arrested.
Mm.
And that played a significant role in the anger and the pain that I felt, um, and being a single mom as well. And even just still working through some things with him as far as what does um, being a single mom look like, or what does it mean when you're in a relationship, right? And co-parenting while your significant other is incarcerated. And I realized that as much as I want him home, right, because he was wrongfully incarcerated, there are
Mhm.
some other things that need to be addressed for others who may get left behind the walls. So my arrest came out of Connecticut, and their family visits are only for the women, and so we have 1 hour visits. And my daughter was born on the outside, but her dad has always been on the inside for her whole life. And we decided that no matter what happens with his case, we want to make sure that um, people know about um, the wrongful convictions and how it impacts families, as well as how not having um, family friendly visits impacts our children, right? Again, just creating these cycles of our children now dealing with an incarcerated parent, and they deal with a lot of shame and um, sadness and grief and anger, and how that plays out in the classroom or in the community, in the home, and understanding that they need support. So it really became a call to freeing my husband, but also freeing the chains of the collateral consequences that came with him being incarcerated, because he has four children and he has a grandchild, and he's missing many years of family life.
Are you guys any closer to his freedom?
I want to say yes,
Okay.
right? Definitely making steps in the right direction. Um, but the wheels of justice they're slow. They're very slow. And what um, what we call what I call steps to um, being closer to his freedom. Obviously, he's incarcerated, so he's like, some you have good days, you have bad days, you have a lot of bad days. Um, but definitely this legislative session in Connecticut and even nationwide, we really want to push home that we need some reform around wrongful conviction. Um, and what does that look like? And I know there's always pushback when we try to do prison reform and justice reform. Um, but what we have discovered is that um, one little line that I think is reasonable to change is across all the states, is that they have this prong called newly discovered evidence, right? And that's a very hard threshold to meet legally. The evidence cannot be known by either party, um, and if you don't, and if it is, then it's sort of thrown out. They don't re-look at your case. You can't reopen it. You can't present facts that could have set you free, and that's really what's holding his case back right now. Um, that wrongful conviction of the I'm sorry, newly discovered evidence prong, because what ends up happening, I'm sorry, I don't know why my computer's going off all of a sudden. Um,
I just look at it like, okay, that's the universe confirming all the points that she's talking about.
right. What ends up happening with the newly discovered evidence prong, if the prosecutor knows about it, it's a Brady violation, right? But what happens when your defense attorney knows about something and doesn't present it,
Mm,
right? And you
yeah.
could claim ineffective counsel, but it ends up um, the state ends up pushing against that, so it ends up being an uphill battle, an expensive uphill battle, um, emotionally, financially. So it's really something that we're fighting against. And in the meanwhile, again, he's missing his kids grow up. When he went in, I was pregnant. His other kids, he had one that I believe was 10, right? Was the other baby. His grandbaby was a thought, or wasn't even a thought rather. So he's missed the death of one of his cousins, his mom.
Mm.
Um, so he's paying into the system while waiting for justice to catch up.
It's a robbery. It's a robbery of a life. Honestly, I mean, there's nothing more that we can really say to that.
Yeah.
Like, the wheels of justice are really slow. Are they actually moving?
Yes. So we're waiting on the Supreme Court. They have agreed to hear his case.
Okay,
So we're hopeful because that doesn't happen often,
that's
right?
beautiful.
Um,
Sending you love on that, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You mentioned like as parents. this does take a toll on both sides. How is it for you co-parenting, or for him from your point of view from prison?
Um, I know he wishes he can do more, right? That he could be there more, and I make the effort for that to happen. A lot of the times we're up against ACS saying, "Well, you don't have an ACS case, so there's not much we can do to help us navigate different meetings that we try to get him on in school and in different programming that she's in."
What
Right.
is ACS?
So the Administration of Children's Services or
Hmm.
Department of Family Services. Um, so if you have like a child abuse or child neglect case, the child will have a social worker and their own lawyer to help navigate meetings and stuff with the incarcerated parent and even visits. Um, because that's not the case for our family. Everything is me calling and asking the prison, well, she has a parent teacher conference coming up. Can he join? She has an IEP meeting coming up. Can he join? You know, and I'm sending everything in her doctor's appointments and different stuff. So my child is also on the autism spectrum. So a lot of different appointments and calling and asking, what do you think of her getting an MRI, or what do you think of her taking medication, or what do you think I should say to advocate for her in the classroom, um, instead of him being able to like sort of speak himself, right? I try to make sure that the decisions that are made, he has a voice and feedback.
Mm. So you can't necessarily get him on all those parent conferences or appointments, but you intentionally create that dialogue and move forward with his feedback in mind.
Correct.
So you really have to be intentional about this co-parenting.
Right. And that's if you're in a good space, right? Because some parents
Yeah,
are not in a good space, and
yeah,
then you do have to take the route of, well, I don't have a neglect case, but let me call ACS or get the family court involved so that I can be involved in my child's life while I'm incarcerated. And then you have the blowback of, well, you're incarcerated. Why should you be involved in your child's life? And it's like your rights as a parent does not end when you're incarcerated.
yeah, yeah. Sheesh.
Your child support doesn't even end when you're incarcerated. So why shouldn't you have that opportunity to be a part of making decisions?
Really?
No, you have to tell them. You have to call child support and let them know you're incarcerated, you're not working, and hope and pray that they pause it. But 9 times out of 10, I believe they just lower it to like maybe $10 or $25. But if you're one of those parents that was paying, 100 a week, 700 a month, that's adding up while you're incarcerated.
Hmm. Wow, wow. I guess as a caregiver, how are you providing him support besides being there, having that dialogue with them?
Um, I think the biggest support that I could give him is just listening to him, right? That's all I can offer him at this point, and helping him understand what's going on in our household. I hear from other caregivers that I talk to, um, it's hard when they're calling and saying they need money. It's hard hearing, you have the holidays just passed and you have these holiday packages that come out where they could get better items than normal, and it's like, but remember the caregivers that are taking care of your children and taking care of your family while you're gone, right? If you were one of the working parents, adults in the household, that stream of income is gone.
Yeah.
So I still have to pay for my daughter takes karate. I have to pay for transportation, um, co-pays for insurance and medications. So do we have that excess money to send you a holiday package, or to send you commissary this month, or you know you want pictures of your family, right? So we're printing out pictures. Everyone has smartphones. You're not thinking about, these printed out pictures, but if you're incarcerated, they want hard physical copies of pictures and letters and stamps and stuff that we don't even think about much anymore because we take it for granted, really. We
Yeah. No, we do. I mean, like even right now, my son is like, "Hey, mom, did you send me those stamps?" Not even discussing like sometimes they don't even get the things that we send to them.
hmm
So the whole idea of you having to drive down. I don't know about you, but my son is like he's incarcerated and he's like 3 to 4 hours from me, and it takes $40 to fill up that gas tank. Like you
hmm
said, the transportation, $40 to come back, not including maybe we're stopping by the store and picking up snacks. That's $100 visit
and how long is
already.
the visit?
The whole the visit you can visit them from like 11 to like 3 o'clock.
Right.
So
So
the visit isn't just 30 minutes. We get quite a few hours, but the drive there to get up, that's a whole day just to visit a
mhm,
loved one. Like, why do we need to drive that far just to do that?
right. So yeah, it takes us about 3 hours, and fortunately, I can stay in the state once we're there.
Oh, good.
Uh, um, but 3 hour drive, and then I'm trying to get maybe multiple days if possible to visit, right? But it's
Mhm.
only an hour visit, maybe
Oh,
maybe 40 minutes. Depending on if they bring him down on time. It's no like, oh, we brought him down late. We'll give you the 20 minutes on the end. No, the visit's over and it's over.
mm. So as a caregiver, like, how do you find your support?
Um, I personally had to piece together my own like support plan. And that's where, SE comes in. That's how I found SE and Women's Prison Association and Women's Community Justice Association, going to the mosque. Um,
Mhm.
and I just found one closer to me because I was traveling a bit. So now I'm at Al Islam Mosque in New Haven. Um, so even that, finding people that I can feel normal with, and also finding people that understand what I'm going through. So I don't have to explain all the time what I'm going through on days when I don't feel normal, but I just need someone to talk to or just be in space, hold space with, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't necessarily want to talk, you don't want to do anything, you just want to be and hold space with other people. Um, so definitely that's what I've been doing for myself. And yeah, fasting and praying. That's been something I've been able to be consistent with, and I'm hoping that I could start exercising some more. I'm waiting for a sister to motivate me, like to like, okay, come on, sis, we're gonna exercise together. I'm gonna call you. You're my accountability partner. Um, I still
I,
got time. I got time.
what I've actually done since I started this on November 11th, and thank you for sharing your secrets with us about because I think community is very important to help us as women to, like you said, sometimes we just need to just sit there and not really do anything, but just know that the energy is available to tap into. Um, I started this on November 11th, and it's going on 3 months. I stopped eating meat, and I significantly dropped. I think I may have dropped like a 75 pounds just by doing that.
Nice,
Like no sugar. Like I purposely said, I'm just gonna do vegetables. I'm just gonna do a fruit. And for the most part, I really stuck to that. And I think when I said to myself that this is my intention, um, and really started buying that versus like grabbing some Oreos or something, I don't know what. I think certain things in our lives at certain times, the light bulb turns on. Everybody does their thing differently. I'm just saying this is what I tried at this season.
Mhm.
But yeah, so if that's something, sis, I'm open to be accountable with you on some on a plant-based diet.
Okay. You don't eat meat at all now, or just
Nope,
less?
no,
Okay.
no, no
Oreos are so
shrimp,
good though.
huh?
Oreos are my guilty pleasure.
Girl, I don't even know why I picked Oreos.
I feel caught out.
Hey, look, I'm just channeling the energy. That's all. But yeah, nah, because I was eating shrimp, fish, and all that, and I feel like after I started to like really allow myself to eat these live food, I feel like I have more energy. I'm more clear in my thought process. Um, I could put on them shorts that I wasn't able to put on. But I think really more of it is like the commitment to myself and what I'm committed to do for okay, after this 3 month meat fast, what's next, friend? Like, am I going to fall back into the same path? I guess I'll continue to ask myself once it's done because I feel like I want to push this into a space where it doesn't just become something that I do every now and then, that it becomes a lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to segue back. Is there any other things that you want to share with the community about the work that you do and how I know you mentioned the SE, you got into SE because SE is about unisolating women that either have been incarcerated or have incarcerated loved ones, and they bring us to a safe space so that we can share our story, so we can be heard by those that either have similar experiences. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring to the space in regards to all that we've communicated about today?
I mean, if just showing up for each other, right? Again, I thank you for inviting me to even have this platform to speak with you on what I'm doing and um, sort of vent live, right? About what I'm going through and how
Yeah.
I'm processing what I've been doing to heal and to move forward and make change and progress. Um, and I think that that's been helpful. And then also, um, yeah, if anyone wants to show up or needs support from me, again, I'm available in New York and Connecticut to do. I offer therapy and caregiver support groups, but also the Free Abdus campaign. We are pushing um, the Wrongful Conviction Relief Act and CS Support Us bills in Connecticut right now, but we do hope that it becomes a national movement. CS Support Us, I know there's working groups in California and New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, but no one has been successful in making it law yet. So
Mhm.
to really focus on our kids and our families, right? Our kids are impacted also by their parents being incarcerated or a close loved one being incarcerated, and how are we showing up and supporting them, right? We have great programs, but if the funding is cut off, then they don't have these programs anymore. But
Right.
we can um, ask teachers and correction officers um, and the Department of Corrections in general to show up for our kids as well. Like, what does that look like? You creating these spaces so that they feel like they can heal and express themselves and have um, intentional visits, meaningful visits with their loved ones and not feel traumatized
Mm.
by the system. Um, and it all comes down to um, humanity
Mm.
and um, it's a public health crisis really at this point, and how it plays out in our communities is a public safety um, issue. It's a health issue. It impacts many different areas of our lives. So I would say follow me on social media, sign the petition, and share with others, because this is something that it impacts different areas all of everyone's life, right? It's not an isolated issue. And I do hope that as far as the support we give to each other, that people are able to show up and say, I need help, I need support, this is what you can do for me in whatever capacity. um, Call, a text, a birthday card. I just was telling my daughter, or rather asking her, I'm like, we about to start selling some birthday cards. Like, get you a little GoFundMe or something, because she draws. That's
Yeah,
really how she expresses herself in school and at home. And I'm like, and then we could, donate some of the proceeds, um, or maybe that could be your daddy's commissary, or that could be the gas money to go visit her dad. But it's something, um, for her, that she's expressing herself, making money for herself, but also like showing up for others, in different ways. Like, what does that look like?
yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because like people do express like their grievances with things in different ways, and art is definitely one of them. But I had another question about the social worker and the CSW. You said that you can ask them what are some questions that people should ask if they do find themselves in these kind of situations, because like you said, sometimes people don't ask, and they probably don't because they don't know how to ask. Maybe don't know what kind of questions to ask.
For a visit, or like asking for support?
Both.
Um, for asking for support, really, I think being honest with yourself and saying what you need. Like, if
Mhm.
it's you need a nap, you just need to get away for a day, you need a massage, you need to go shopping, um, being real honest with that ask, and then seeing who can show up for you. Because I know for me, when especially when she was younger, I need time to myself to think. Like, even now sometimes, but I'm able to say it to her. But when she was little, you can't just leave your child at home, like, right? So I would be at home crying, like
Mhm.
just so devastated, and I needed to take a walk, and my grandmother would see that and be like, go take a walk. I got the
Mhm.
baby. Go. And we don't realize that sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be a spa day, just a moment to walk and breathe and think, right? Or to nap, when they be like, nap when the baby's napping. That's not realistic. um it sounds good, but you have to cook, you got to clean, you got, like, life doesn't stop because you had a baby. So
Mhm.
when you are able to tap into those other people that are able to cook for you, clean for you, do laundry
Yeah.
for you, go shopping for you, tell you to, when they say nap when the baby naps, that means who's there, right? Because as a new mom, I know for me, I was looking in the crib, making sure she was still breathing. So, like, someone to step in and say, I got this, go nap, right?
Thank God for your grandmother.
So being in that same space and being able to say that's what you needed, like, you need silence.
Yeah.
And being okay with being in silence. um or I just had another young lady was like, I need to review math. I'm like, okay, what that look like? You need a I'm not smarter than a fifth grader review math, or you need some other type of math? And he was like, no, I just need a, yeah, I think I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. I'm like, all right, I got you. My daughter's in sixth grade. You can have some of this homework, because I sure enough don't understand it. But, like, ask and see who's able to show up for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes shame can be associated with that, like, oh, I
Mhm.
won't look strong enough, or like I've never been one to ask. Like there's so many things associated with that ask sometimes emotionally that people aren't able to tap in
Mhm.
to the ask is actually a strength.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's the new flex.
And that's the same thing for when you're going on visits, right? So, The only reason why I know that you need an ACS case or Administrative Children's Services case to facilitate these visits and different meetings is because I went on the DOC, the Department of Corrections website, and it said if you want a professional visit, just have the professional email, right? I'm like a teacher's profession, social worker's profession, doctor's profession, right? That's what I'm thinking. It didn't say a professional visit meant lawyer or child custody case.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere on the website does it say that. So I had the Department of Education email, and the correctional officers was like, okay, they set up the visit. But then
Wow.
it became well, who's bringing this incarcerated person downstairs for the visit? And nobody knew. Like after the visit was nobody knew. And they had, I guess they have a liaison there, and they was like, yeah, okay, we're going. Liaison brought him downstairs and was like, but wait a minute, you don't got a child support or child custody or child neglect case. So she cut the visit short. She said, I
Huh.
don't even think I was supposed to bring you downstairs. I'm like, so what kind of liaison are you? Because you're sitting in the Department of Corrections all day. How many visits do you have a day? So if you don't have no visits, you just get to sit there and collect the paycheck. They said, oh, we'll look into it. All right.
They ain't never got back to you, did they?
No, but I send continuous emails. We're going to get to the bottom of it. That's why I created the bill.
Okay. Wow.
Right? We're gonna have so we're gonna either add some stuff to your job description, or we're gonna get someone designated. Because to me, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
You're sitting there for those specific visits as a liaison, but if there's
Wow.
no visits that day, you get to collect your paycheck.
How long was the visit?
No, it was still only for an hour, but you,
Okay.
you you know, as a professional visit, I guess as a lawyer visit, you're able to say if you need 90 minutes or something. And I did that based off of what his lawyer said, like, oh, what do you do? And they was like, oh, we fax something in with our credentials, right? Just to show that, yes, we are professionals. You know, you can't say you're a lawyer and then you're not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the teacher, Department of Education, they can fax in their credentials. They have their teacher, certificate, their license and stuff.
Mm.
And an IEP meeting, um, for me is usually not that long because she's in sixth grade now. My child also participated in the meeting, and that's something else that they was like, oh, kids are able once they get to a certain grade, fifth grade, fourth grade, to participate. Not a lot of kids do. I'm like,
Mm.
absolutely. How are we talking about the child? Once they're in middle school, high school, they have tons of stuff to say about how the teacher's teaching them and what works for them, what doesn't work, what they want. They should be heard too.
Yeah.
So advocating for the child to be able to be heard. What do they want that visit to look like?
Mm. Yeah.
What makes it a safe visit or a good visit for you? What would you like?
Yeah.
My daughter wants to be able to play patty cake and touch her dad and not just one little hug and kiss. She wants to, really feel that an
The
embrace
presence
and
of her daddy.
yeah, be
Yeah.
able to mess with him.
Yes.
What kids do. Like they want to be able to climb on you
Right.
and live their best life.
Mm. Love that. Well, sis, we are at the end of our podcast. If there is any quote or a piece of advice that you would leave with people that has helped you to be where you're at today, what would that be?
I think my favorite quote, and I used to use this quote and not really think too much of it, but now it definitely is like holds true and dear to my heart, is make mistakes, get messy.
Mm.
Right? Mrs. Frazzle, Magic School Bus.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that's how you learn lessons, right? So mm, you're not your biggest mistake,
Mm.
right? You can learn from it. Um, and I think that's something we forget, or society on a whole, about prisons, right? Prisons are supposed to be rehabilitation, and then once you come out, it's supposed to be a second chance, and
Mm.
we're not really giving that. We're losing so much. voters, activism, families, relationships, procreation, um, workers, right? You lose a lot when you don't let them really re-enter back into the community and show you what they have achieved and what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of the family. They want to be a part of the community.
Yeah.
And,
I think maybe in our next session, we got to talk about the impact of that because sometimes when these people are released, um, the services that they say they have, right? We don't talk about the trauma that they're experiencing in there, of course, because they can't talk about it over the phone because of retaliation. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
right. I'm here for it. I'm here for
Right.
it.
So please find Elaine's her website. You can find her on LinkedIn. She's at kingbishopsentertainment.com. She's also the founder of Refined Solutions. Are there any other websites that I'm missing that they might be able to find you on?
Um, yeah, so Free Abduce is on Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook, and X.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I put the links on the posting after we're done the recording.
Sounds good.
All right, sister. Thank you so much for joining me. Till we talk next time.
Thank you, sis.
All
You
right.
have a good
You're
night.
welcome, sis. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.